Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you very much for joining me here. I hope you're having a phenomenal day. Let's take another look at SUI, see what's going on. Got some really good stuff here going. The price action is continuing higher up. We broke through our local high with a new potential retracement of that area. So in other words, we should see a new pivot here from 225 and go higher, pending Bitcoin doesn't take a nosedive here soon and we see a big sell-off. I just want to kind of remind you though, a friendly reminder that weekends have notoriously been red. We've seen 93%, 13 out of 14 red weekends this year. So I'm not trying to scare you, just trying to be realistic in the sense that profits need to be taken. This coin being one of those profitable coins for the moment, it would make sense to see a retracement. However, from a liquidation standpoint, we see a ton of a ton of merit to whales and market makers pushing the price action higher to liquidate any shorts in the area. Okay, that way they can see fit to do what they want with the market. Between now and then, just know there's a lot between 240 and 250. That does reinforce resistance though in that area. So try not to get too crazy with that. Liquidation can work against you too, depending on how you look at it. But for the most part, we've broken through our local high. A little bit further up would make sense, pending Bitcoin doesn't continue to go down right now. Okay. Having said that, though, liquidation delta roughly topping out here with a double top from its previous high of roughly 350 million. Basically just implies that bulls are in control. But when you see that number kind of hitting a certain level, a certain range, which we've seen before, there is likelihood of pullback, especially with this being a weekend. However, I want to emphasize caution in trying to short this coin because you can see 226 to 220, heavy amount of confluence with open interest, letting us know that there's a ton of support just below the price action. 210 is that secondary range too. So 220 and 210 are really easy numbers. If you insist on shorting to like the 220 mark, I guess I understand, but probably still not worth it because there's not a ton of meat left on the bone there, right? You're better off going up than down at this point. However, you do got to recognize once more, this being a weekend, there's probably somewhat of a selling, there will be some selling pressure. So having said that, the daily time frame, we can see we haven't closed above the 20-day SMA just yet. We're right there at that point of control, which is 227. That's essentially just reiterating and reaffirming that resistance range for us, okay? So please note, we are kind of underneath that level there. We're right there at that range, reinforcing just a simple likelihood of continuation sideways before we go up past that. We need a lot of volume to get through that. Generally speaking, you don't see that kind of volume on weekends. That's the easy way to understand it. Not much else to really note here. Most coins are converging on their MACD, which is standard. It's kind of that shift in momentum. We've been able to maintain parallel highs and higher lows. Generally speaking, these are very favorable signs, but just note from a macro perspective, we still haven't broken our short-term and long-term descending trends. So I wouldn't be too overly bullish on this coin, but it's getting there, okay, if that makes any sense. All that being said, the 4-hour time frame is going to be fully bullish here. There's nothing really here telling us that we are in bad shape whatsoever. But just friendly reminder, pretty much every single altcoin looks like this, minus a couple of outliers. So the 4-hour and the hourly timeframes all look fantastic. Most coins are truly bullish at this point, which forces me to raise my eyebrows a little bit though. I'm like, wait a minute, should I trust this right now? So just once more, we've had terrible weekends this entire year. This could be the one outlier that kind of outperforms, and I really hope that's the case. I'm not being pessimistic, just being realistic with you that the odds of tremendous amount of upside is lower. If we go a little bit higher, I think there's a decent chance we will pull back to secure those profits over the weekend. It might happen later tonight, sometime tomorrow morning. Asian markets to traditional markets, there's a lot of reasons for that, but keep in mind that's kind of where we're at. Okay, it's not perfect, but there is a CME gap for Bitcoin that still hasn't been filled between 85 and 86,000. So there's a handful of little reasons why we should expect the price to go higher before it comes back down. And with that mindset, if the price does pull back for this coin, I think 220 seems like a very logical next step because that's our point of control here locally. There's a lot of open interest there, and it's just a common area. So if you're going to consider a long and you're going to wait for a long, 220 would be a likely area or a range to consider getting in. Those are my thoughts. All right, so what are your thoughts? Why don't you comment below? At least hit the like button before you leave. Make sure you join us over on Twitter, Telegram, and Discord as well. I'm always excited to get to know new community members. Jump on over to our Discord too as well. It's a phenomenal group. And friendly advice too, if you want to become a better trader, I do have a Trading Academy community and signals group. You can see here that we took some profits from AVAX today, 62% from Solana, Bitcoin 42%. It's been a good profit week for us. We're not getting too crazy with a ton of trades. I think I've probably only sent about 7 or 8 signals this month, which is kind of low, but they're safe, conservative. We're hitting our targets, and we're not getting too outrageous with our leverage either. So it's kind of where we're at. All right, hopefully that makes sense, folks. I appreciate you watching. Thanks again. We'll look forward to seeing the next one. Take care out there. Bye-bye.